So first I wanted to get the experience of individual students in your class. You can see what's happening for each kid. So these squares represent your students. Before I come and watch, I will come write down the names of the students in these squares. And then every 5 minutes, I just do a quick engagement check. Yes, they're engaged. No, or I'm not really sure if they're engaged. Every time a student leaves their seat during direct instruction, they get a check mark, and it's not necessarily like a bad thing. Obviously, going to the bathroom has to happen, drinks may need to happen, but just to see how much movement is happening during your direct instruction. If they raise their hand, they get an exclamation mark, and if they get called on, they get this little star just to show maybe the kid raised their hand 5 times and never got called on, or maybe the same kid is getting picked every single time for things. So just to see what's happening for the individual student. I'll also take an average wait time after you ask questions, and then see how you're responding to students' input. Do they get any kind of positive affirmation? Do you build on what the student is saying? And it might not happen every single time, but just watching to see how often it happens. And then these bottom two are just if they happen. So if the students aren't understanding, are you responding to that and going slower and reviewing? Or if they're ready to move on, are you ready for that as well? And then if the students are off task, I'll mark down every time they get a verbal response to being off task, and then mark if they get a visual consequence, like a check on the board, or they have to like move marbles to another thing, and then how often there appears to be an action consequence where there's actually some negative thing that's going to happen to try and alter their behavior.